Coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios, this is Prime News on SABC 3 and in your top stories at this hour.
In fact, the effectiveness has never been an issue that was questioned.
Deputy Police Minister Kessel Matale described the Police Minister's decision to disband the Political Killings Task Team as highly irregular, stating that the abrupt directive created serious operational challenges. Meanwhile, at the Madlanga Commission, an inquiry probing the same allegations, senior forensic analysts from the South African Police Service took to the stand this afternoon.
Everything in South Africa boils down to poverty and unemployment.
And the DA has launched a new legislative proposal aimed at scrapping South Africa's black economic empowerment policy, a move that's already stirring political debate. We bring you the biggest stories in sharp focus. Good afternoon and welcome to Prime News on SABC 3. My name is Becky Mutumomolete. Let's unpack the day's leading events, and here they are. Deputy Police Minister Kessel Matale has described the Police Minister's announcement to disband the Political Killings Task Team as highly irregular, stating that the abrupt directive created serious operational challenges. Testifying before Parliament's ad hoc committee, Matale stressed that the term immediate should be taken at face value and not reinterpreted. He raised concerns over the lack of formal procedures typically required to dissolve a specialized police unit like the PKTT.
They did an excellent job. Since they were instituted, there was progress around killings of activists, what one might call political killings that took place. There were progress. In fact, the effectiveness has never been an issue that was questioned within the space.
The Deputy Police Minister further stated that the current controversy could have been avoided had Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's concerns been heard by SAPS management.
I think if he was given the opportunity to engage with the executive authority, probably will not have arrived where we are. There have been differences of opinion even when Minister Kele was in the space. Police did not necessarily see things the same way, but it never went to an extent that one of the officers could want to vent their frustrations, the manner in which General Mkhwanazi did. And the differences that he spoke about, I'm convinced that should he has been given an ear, there should have been a way to manage what we find ourselves with. In fact, the interface between the executive authority and the accounting officer, if it was stronger, we would not have arrived here.
Meanwhile, at the Madlanga Commission, an inquiry probing the same allegations, a senior forensic analyst from the South African Police Service, Captain Meldon Mkhatshwa, took to the stand this afternoon. Mkhatshwa was the second witness to testify today, following his colleague from the same division, Captain Solomon Mudisani. The names of both Captain Mkhatshwa and Captain Mudisani were mentioned repeatedly on Monday during the testimony of Brigadier Mishak Mkhabela, who's head of the SAPS ballistics unit. The two officers were responsible for conducting ballistic tests on cartridge cases and firearms seized during the arrest of suspects linked to the 2022 murders of DJ Sambodi, DJ Vintos and businessman Don Tindleni. Captain Mkhatshwa also appeared before the Commission to clarify recorded discrepancies in an evidence bag related to the April 2024 killing of Vereniging Engineer Amand Swart.
In Bramley case 149, commissioners, there's firearms that were confiscated from the suspects, in possession of the suspects. And in Santin 398 of 11/2022, it was a matter of DJ Somebody together with his 2 bodyguards. And Orlando case 220, it was a matter of DJ Vintos. And Orlando case 93 was the matter of Mr. Don Tidlene.
In more related news, retired Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has slammed the current South African legislative framework, saying that it does not care about whistleblowers. Zondo was speaking at the 3rd Annual Whistleblower Awards held at Melrose Arch in Johannesburg on Monday night, where renowned investigative journalists and whistleblowers were honored for their courage in fighting corruption and maladministration.
Recent revelations at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry and the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee have highlighted the crucial role of whistleblowers and the urgent need for their protection. In recognition of their sacrifices, Public Interest South Africa hosted the 3rd Annual Whistleblower Awards on Monday evening. Delivering the keynote address, retired Chief Justice Raymond Zondo lamented that South Africa's current laws fail to protect whistleblowers.
This is not about us. It is not about Teboho. It is not about public interest. It is about the men and women who have the courage to shine a light on wrongdoing in our society.
We as society need to show that we care for those people. And at the moment, if you look at the legislative framework, it says we don't care.
Investigative journalists and whistleblowers were recognized for their role in exposing corruption. The Fallen Heroes of Integrity Award was renamed the Babita Diokaran Award and posthumously presented to Sindiso Magaqa. News 24 journalists Sikonati Manchanja and Jeff Weeks received the Investigative Journalism Media House Award, while Peter Louis Meyerberg won the Investigative Journalist Award.
Sindiso believed in truth and justice. He spoke out when others were afraid, because he wanted to see a better South Africa.
Calls for the establishment of an independent agency to protect whistleblowers were again strongly emphasized. Offenses Timo, SABC News, Melrose Arch in Johannesburg.
Welcome back to Prime News on 3. The Democratic Alliance has launched a new bold legislative proposal aimed at scrapping South Africa's black economic empowerment policy, a move that's already stirring political debate. Democratic Alliance Federal Chairperson Dr. Ivan Meyer has taken a firm stance against the ANC's black economic empowerment policy, describing it as a tool used to benefit ANC cadres and politically connected elites. Speaking at the launch of the party's Economic Inclusion for All bill, Meyer said BEE had failed South Africa over the past 30 years, deepening poverty and widening inequality.
Instead of talking about BEE and all its failures, the DA listened to the call of the Zondo Commission and ordinary South Africans. And they, in terms of what we have listened, we have responded to these calls and we have tabled an alternative to BEE, which my colleagues will further unpack. And the DA's Economic Inclusion for All focuses on lifting people out of poverty, creating jobs, and driving real impact.
I would say everything in South Africa boils down to poverty and unemployment. That is the most critical challenge and disgrace in South Africa today. And we are saying that the ANC's policies have led us there. And as the biggest alternative party, we have to put the alternative on the table that will not lead to a trickle down, but will open up doors to investment, to economic growth, and to job creation.
Ekurhuleni Mayor Nkosindiphile Xhakaza says the Metro will use the upcoming G20 Leaders Summit to showcase South Africa and to attract future investment. Xhakaza visited the OR Tambo International Airport to assess the gateway state of readiness for delegates' arrival in South Africa. He expressed his confidence in the country's ability to host the event, describing it as a lifetime opportunity for South Africans.
Ekurhuleni is leaving nothing to chance as the much-anticipated G20 Leaders Summit approaches. With 25 days left before the event, the Executive Mayor Nkosindiphile Xhakaza visited the OR Tambo International Airport as part of the build-up for the much-anticipated Global Summit late in November.
South Africans is a very lively and very friendly, nation. And those are attributes and those are the experiences that we want our visitors to actually experience so that they can then have a positive review about our country.
Ekurhuleni will host the G20 Social Summit to be attended by over 5,000 delegates. Members of civil society will use the platform to engage on global issues in line with this year's theme, Solidarity, Equality and Sustainability. SABC News, Johannesburg.
In other news, the inquest investigating the death of the 21 young people who died at Enyobeni Tavern in East London in the Eastern Cape in June 2022 has been postponed to the 10th of December. This is to allow the court to collect missing court transcripts. The missing transcripts include court proceedings from August last year and April this year. The court has promised to have the transcripts ready on the 17th of November. Having listened to the testimonies of the close to 30 witnesses, including liquor board officials, medical experts, investigating officers, as well as tavern owners. The court is expected to hear the closing arguments of the state, the legal representatives of the families, and that of the tavern bouncer, Thembisa Diko, who is alleged to have discharged a spray gun on the night in question. The aim of the inquest is to establish if there is any person who can be criminally responsible for the death of those 21 teenagers at Enyobeni Tavern in June 2022. The case against 5 men accused of kidnapping and murdering journalist Busiso Aseri Ndlovu and his partner Zodwa Precious Mdluli has been postponed to the 10th of November. This is to allow the state some time to add more charges against the accused. They briefly appeared at the KwaMhlanga Magistrates Court in Mpumalanga. They face several charges including kidnapping, murder and house robbery. On to the next story. The family of 22-year-old Siamo Muramaga and 21-year-old Baleseng Muramaga are demanding justice for the brutal murder of the two cousins in Mamelodi East, Pretoria. Their bodies were found on Sunday morning, sparking outrage and grief in the community. According to the Gauteng police, a 38-year-old suspect has been arrested and is expected to appear in the Mamelodi Magistrates Court on Wednesday. He is facing charges of murder and attempted murder. Police investigations are ongoing.
Siamo Muramaga, a first-year beautician student, and her cousin Baleseng Muramaga, a teacher's assistant, shared a rented room in Mamelodi East, Pretoria. Their cousin, Ntabiseng Buthelezi, described them as happy and harmonious individuals who got along with everyone. The family is relying on social media for information about the incident, as they were not present when the tragic event occurred. However, Buthelezi says they are also waiting for the police to give them reliable information about the death of their cousins.
Whatever they are saying on social media, I won't believe, because we are still waiting for the police. The police are the one who are going to give us the full name of that person.
Civic organizations are demanding increased law enforcement presence in Mamelodi, Pretoria, amid a surge in gender-based violence cases.
We are demanding more from the police. We're in fact demanding more from the Office of the Presidency, because Mamelodi is the notorious township all over South Africa. The killing in Mamelodi is beyond measure.
We are calling for stricter and more visible policing, particularly in areas such as these, where people are all over, coming from parties and groove and so on.
Gauteng police have confirmed the arrest of the suspect accused of killing the cousins.
A 38-year-old man was arrested in connection with 2 counts of murder, an attempted murder that occurred in Mamelodi East Extension 17 on 26 October 2025.
Meanwhile, the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities has welcomed the swift arrest by the police.
Mr. Chikunga commend the South African Police Service for acting swiftly in apprehending the suspect. These heinous acts of violence against women cannot and will not be tolerated.
The Moramaga cousins will be laid to rest in Limpopo this weekend. Nonhlanhla Ntshingile for SABC News, Pretoria.
Thank you for staying with us. As Tanzania heads to the polls tomorrow, questions are mounting about the credibility of the electoral process. President Samia Suluhu Hassan is seeking re-election under the ruling Chama cha Mapinduzi party. But with the main opposition leader facing treason charges and reports of growing political repression, analysts say the outcome is almost certain.
When Tanzania's late president, John Magufuli, took office a decade ago, he was hailed as a man of the people, a leader determined to clean up corruption and strengthen accountability. But his presidency soon drew criticism for its authoritarian approach, silencing opponents, curbing media freedoms, and clamping down on dissent. After Magufuli's sudden death in 2021, his vice president, Samia Suluhu Hassan, became Tanzania's first female head of state, promising to unite a divided nation. This is the time to bury our differences as a country and be one as a nation. It is time to console each other, show each other love. Her first years in power offered hope. Political prisoners were released. Opposition rallies resumed and bans on critical media were lifted, but that optimism was short-lived. In recent months, reports of disappearances, harassment, and renewed restrictions have resurfaced, raising fears of a return to Magufuli-era tactics.
This time, the regime is scared, and they are going to be very, very violent, because in a free and fair election, we will win fair and square.
Despite criticism, President Hassan remains firmly backed by the ruling party, which has been in power since independence. With the opposition barred from contesting, her victory later this month seems all but guaranteed. For many Tanzanians, the coming vote offers little suspense, but for the country's fragile democracy, the stakes couldn't be higher. I'm Butlali Pele, SABC News.
And that is the final whistle. Thank you for tuning in to Prime News on SABC3. We are back with you again tomorrow evening. And until then, from myself, Becky, and the team, have a fantastic day ahead. We sign off with a view into your weather forecast with John Sturley, which is coming up next. Take care.
Very good evening to you. Let's take a look at all your weather details now. We've got clear skies overnight in the Western Cape. Southeasters up to 25 kilometers an hour. Clear skies continue through the Eastern Cape, just northwards of Gqeberha, where things start to get cloudy. All the way through the East Coast, no rainfall expected along the coastal regions. But in and around Pietermaritzburg, some isolated showers are expected, becoming scattered through the northern areas of the Free State, in towards the Northwest Province and southern parts of Gauteng overnight. In towards tomorrow, we've got scattered rainfall expected for the Northwest Province, Free State, and Mpumalanga in towards KwaZulu-Natal. Be on the lookout for those conditions, whilst it'll be sunny and clear in Cape Town. Wind speeds up to about 30 kilometers an hour from southeasterly direction. Look out, though, for some partly cloudy conditions along the coastline. Overall, warnings in place for this evening. Be on the lookout for the potential of severe thunderstorms through the shade of yellow on the map, just expanding its reach tomorrow to include parts of the Northern Cape and the eastern coastline of South Africa, whilst hot, dry, windy conditions are likely through the patch of red, which could lead to fault fires. So please be on the lookout for that. Beaufort West 12 overnight, Cape Town 13, Gqeberha 12, Durban dipping to 19, Johannesburg down to 14 this evening, but warming up through the middle of the week to a maximum of 24. Scattered rainfall is possible. Richards Bay up to 31, Gqeberha 20 tomorrow, East London up to 22. The central parts of the country in the mid-20s for both Bloemfontein and Kimberley, a little bit warmer at 28. Beaufort West up to 30 degrees. Be on the lookout for the fire danger in that area. And as we head westwards towards the coastline, Cape Town 22, Vredendal 31, and Alexandra Bay up north up to a maximum of 22. That's it from me. Have a great evening ahead.